The Space Agency says a sensor damaged during assembly was responsible for an aborted Soyuz rocket launched 3 weeks ago. The two-man crew, one Russian, one American, were forced to evacuate at the time, you may recall. The agency released a video from an onboard camera which shows the rocket failure just 2 minutes into the flight. The crew were supposed to fly to the International Space Station. Of course, they never got there. RT's Maria Finoshna has more on the aborted space flight.
It was an absolutely shocking news back then, the first failure of this kind in the last 35 years. Shortly after the incident, a special high-ranking commission was formed to investigate what went wrong with the Soyuz launch last month, and today we heard their verdict. A sensor that is supposed to detect the separation of the rocket stages, a metal detail that big, is to blame for the incident. Pictures were also released today showing that this detail was visibly deformed. And it may sound like a technical failure, but the Commission concluded that the deformation happened at the time when the rocket was assembled. And as we know, it is done always manually. So as one of the members of the Commission told me answering my question, this tragedy has a name and a last name.
Law enforcement agencies are investigating the matter. I would prefer not to discuss that here. We are investigating the technical aspect of the malfunction. But of course, someone is always responsible.
The deformation of the center caused separation issues, and eventually the rocket's stages bumped into each other and it crippled the rocket, and this is when the emergency system reacted automatically by separating the crew capsule. This is a short video showing what exactly happened.
Авария носителя, да? 2 минуты 45 секунд. Авария носителя. Принято. Быстро мы прилетели.
A Russian cosmonaut and an American astronaut, the crew members of that flight, came back safely to Earth in that capsule, and they are in a good condition and their health was not affected. And as we hear from Russia's space agency Roscosmos, their flight is scheduled for next spring. So approximately next March, they will fly to the International Space Station. But even before that, there will be another manned flight from Baikonur that is scheduled for December 3rd.